Hello Bombers, and welcome to Brute Abombinator Savage. For this encounter we use standard designations for our clock positions, but our waymarks are a bit unique to this encounter. 1, 2, 3, and 4 mark the intercardinals of the Phase 1 arena, while A, B, C, and D mark the intercardinals of the Phase 3 arena. We will discuss why later, but these are more helpful than they are mandatory. Brutal Impact will immediately serve 6 hard-hitting physical Raidwides. Stoneringer will transform the boss's right arm into one of 2 variants. A scimitar indicates the in variant of this mechanic, while a massive club indicates the out variant. Immediately after Stoneringer, the boss will cast either Smash Here or Smash There. This is a shared tank buster that targets either the closest or farthest player respectively. The timing for this bait is a little bit unintuitive, so especially for the out and tank's far pattern, tanks might want to play it safe and briefly disconnect to make sure they get the bait. This first smash can be handled with invulnerability, as we won't be utilizing them again until the final phase of the fight. Spore Sac will telegraph 4 large circle AoEs that, after resolving, will begin growing outwards a quarter arena length in 2 directions. After growing, the origins and ends of the vines will telegraph circle AoEs. This will divide the arena into 4 small safe spots that we will utilize for the next mechanic. As these circles resolve, they will also spawn 4 blooming Abomination ads, which we'll also discuss with the next mechanic. While the Spore Sac vines are growing, the boss will cast Sinister Seeds, targeting the 4 closest players with one mechanic and the 4 farthest with another. Who gets what is random, but one group of players will get a series of 4 baited circle AoEs that will later detonate a second time as much larger circle AoEs, while the other group will receive telegraphing circles that will later detonate a star-shaped AoE where they are placed. This means we will have one variant where melees are dropping seeds and ranged are baiting circles, and a second where melees are baiting circles and ranged are dropping seeds. I'm going to show the strategy I found very fast and easy to prog, but some melees struggle with uptime if melees get the circle baits, so a raid plan to what I think is the most rational uptime strategy I've seen is in the description. But be advised it divides the raid to opposite corners, and puts a large movement burden on the entire raid. While dodging the initial vines, the entire raid positions in the south melee safe spot, with melees close and ranged far. At the end of the Sinister Seeds cast, one group will get seeds and the other will get baited circles. The seeds move to their assigned waymarks. Group 1 west, Group 2 east supports north and DPS south. The circle baiters will move towards the nearby corner before moving along the sides of the arena. If the circle baiters are melees, they should be able to keep their GCDs rolling on the now targetable plants, which tanks will need to establish aggro on immediately anyways. After placing the seeds in 4 circles, the light parties stack east and west to resolve shared stacks between the stars. Immediately after the stacks, the entire raid moves north to dodge the second enlarged hit from the baited circle AoEs, and cleaves down the ads. After the circles resolve, all 4 ads will begin casting silenceable AoEs, with 2 casting a massive cross AoE, and the other 2 casting donuts. With some practice, these should all die comfortably before these casts go off, but there is no reason for the tanks in physical range not to interrupt after the first 1 or 2 die. The donuts are especially dangerous, while a single cross can be easily avoided. The boss will next cast Quarry Swamp, petrifying any players that do not line of sight the boss using the body of an ad. Petrify will cause a player to die to any instance of damage, which means they can be saved with a well-timed cover, but not being petrified is strongly preferred. Following the line of sight, a series of 3 proximity AoEs will begin telegraphing on the arena. There is a fine line between trivial damage and lethal damage here, so I suggest respecting the proximities and using sprint if it's available. As the first proximity registers, Abombinator will begin casting another Stoneringer tank buster combo, so be ready to position accordingly after the 3rd proximity. Pulp Smash is a shared stack AoE that we will share in the center of the arena before immediately running out to our true north clock positions. Following the stack, all 8 players will be struck with conal AoEs, while the inside of the boss's target ring is hit with a circle AoE. As the second 2-minute window is drawing to a close, we position north for Bombarian Special, a high damage Raidwide that also executes a radial knockup. Positioning north will ensure that the raid lands on the Phase 2 arena, and Phase 2 will begin proper 15 seconds later. Stoneringer will again equip the boss with an in scimitar or out club. Brutish Swing will tether to the near east building or far west building, and near the end of the cast bar, Bomber will jump to the tethered building before executing the telegraphed in or out. This is immediately followed by Glower Power, targeting the entire raid with spread circle AoEs, and cleaving in front of the boss with a column AoE. Immediately after the Glower is Revenge of the Vines, a high damage magic Raidwide. Thorny Deathmatch will give the active tank the Thorns of Death 1 debuff and tether. This tether deals damage over time, and deals higher damage when stretched further to its 2nd and 3rd tiers. The third tier is survivable but requires babysitting from the healers for non-tanks, while the fourth is lethal, so avoid stretching these tethers when you don't have a very specific reason to. After storing an in or out for later with another Stoneringer, Abominable Blink will target one of the tanks with a proximity tank buster. We have this tank run into the corner while the non-proximity tank provokes to take the tether, and the entire raid positions opposite the proximity tank at max melee or further. The tether will fall off when Bomber casts Sporesplosion, a 3-to-1 dodge. The AoEs are slow enough that dodging 2-to-1 is fine as well, as long as you react quickly. The circles resolve in the order they appear, so position next to one of the first circles and dodge into it as soon as it resolves to dodge the subsequent hits. Halfway through Sporesplosion resolving, the boss casts another brutish swing, so be prepared to dodge in or out at his new location. Like before, this is immediately followed by a Glower Power spread, and Revenge of the Vines Raidwide. Demolition Deathmatch will bring back the tether mechanic from before. One of these will be on the active tank, while the other two are coming from the other two buildings around the arena. These appear on nearby players, but for a short duration other players can pick them up before they lock on by intercepting them. Depending on which wall Bomber ended at, the north building may be close or far from him. In this example it is far, but if it was close, we would just have the off tank pick up the tether rather than the ranged, while everything else works the same way. The third tether is coming from the east or west building that is not near the boss, and we have one of the healers pick up this one. The tethers will activate and the boss will cast another Abominable Blink, targeting one of the tanks with another proximity AoE buster. We send this tank to the corner near the boss, while the party dodges opposite like before. The boss will now layer these tethers with Strange Seeds. Strange Seeds will target one DPS and one support with a seed circle that places a star AoE. This happens 4 times back to back, cycling every member of the party. The second set of seeds will be placing as the stars from the first resolve, and so on. We have assigned positions for where to drop these seeds, with the first and third seeds always being dropped on one set of positions, and the second and fourth seeds always dropped on a second set of positions. There are a lot of strategies for this, but I think these positions are relatively easy, preserve consistent safe spots, and avoid sacrificing uptime or forcing non-tanks to stretch their tethers past 2. After dodging all 4 seeds, either all DPS or all supports will be targeted with shared stacks that also place stars, so we report to assigned positions to drop these on the arena edge. As these final stars resolve, the boss casts another brutish swing, so be prepared to dodge the in or out and the subsequent Glower Power. This particular Glower is the only one that can potentially be cast from the north wall, and for this pattern we spread Group 1 left, Group 2 right, melee tank healer ranged from close to far. This is followed by another Revenge of the Vines before Phase 2 is concluded with Powerslam, another high damage Raidwide that will drop the raid down to the third and final arena, where Phase 3 plays out. We use our Waymarks on the intercardinals of this arena, and while they help and you can probably find them in Party Finder fairly easily, they aren't necessary. The arena floor is divided into tiles, and each Waymark is positioned 2 diagonal tile lengths from the corner. After 15 seconds of being untargetable during the transition, the boss will become targetable again for the Phase 3 reopener. Brute Abombinator will begin the phase with 7 Raidwides from Brutal Impact. After recentering, Stoneringer 2 Stoneringers will equip the boss with both a scimitar and club. One of these weapons will glow and he will tether to one of the arena walls before casting Brutish Swing. Near the end of the cast, he will jump to the tethered wall, resolve either the glowing in or out, and immediately follow up with an uncasted Revenge of the Vines Raidwide, and finally cleave the glowing weapon side with Lashing Lariat. Internalize the order for this first brutish swing. Jump, in or out, Raidwide, Lariat. Following the Lariat, brutish swing will again tether an adjacent wall, and near the end of the cast the boss will jump to the tethered wall for an in or out, whichever wasn't first, followed by a Glower Power that functions as it did before. Slaminator will place a shared AoE tower in the center of the arena. We chose to have the tank solo this with invulnerability. At the end of the cast bar, the boss will jump onto the tower, restoring his movable form. After 8 Raidwides from another Brutal Impact, Abombinator will cast another Stoneringer into smash here or there tank buster. Debris Deathmatch is the last big mechanic of the encounter. At the end of the cast, all 4 walls will spawn tethers, which we have the 4 ranged players pick up. For a later mechanic, I recommend having your more mobile ranged at the north and east walls, although I will also share a variant that eliminates this concern. Like always, stretching these tethers excessively will increase damage taken, so only do so when you must. Spore Sac will function as it did at the start of the fight, placing multiple vines that detonate in circle AoEs and spawn adds. Ranged can dodge into the corners or inside safe spots, but the inside safe spots are more dangerous due to the tethers. As the vines are resolving, either all supports or all DPS will be targeted with stacks that leave behind a star, so we report to assigned positions on the cardinals. An easier range safe spot can be made by dropping these a bit off the walls, but can make things spookier for distant players. As the blooming Abomination adds spawn, the tanks will each want to pick 2 up immediately and begin positioning them northwest and southeast of the boss. We don't need to DPS this round of adds, as they won't cast anything before the boss petrifies them with Quarry Swamp, allowing us to one-shot them after line of sighting the cast with their bodies. Following the LOS, we move into bait positions, with all of the ranged on the left side of their walls facing inwards, and all of the melees northwest. Sinister Seeds will once again target the 4 closest with one mechanic, and the 4 farthest with another, of either circle baits or seed drops. If the ranged get the seeds, they will drop them on the center of their walls, while the melees start baiting northwest and rotate clockwise for 3 subsequent baits. We dodge the stars and circles at southwest and mitigate for the incoming Pulp smash. After the stars resolve, we position on the waymark for the stack to leave room for the upcoming clocks. After the boss jumps on the stack, we spread out to relative clock positions, treating the corner as north. The melee can bait the seeds clockwise towards northwest, and allow the raid to dodge southeast and do true north clocks, but my groups haven't had any trouble with corner relative, and that variant is slightly less melee friendly. If the melees get the seeds, they drop them on the waymarks. The ranged move right along their walls, dropping the 4 circles. After dropping the seeds and circles, we dodge the stars near middle to dodge the second round of AoEs, and finally resolve the Pulp smash mid before dodging out to our true north clock positions. This is immediately followed by 8 Raidwides from another brutal impact, before we recenter the boss and find our color waymarks. Stoneringer 2 Stoneringers will once again equip Brute Abombinator with both weapons before he casts Strange Seeds, targeting either all DPS or all supports with circle AoEs that place a star. Brutish Swing will tether to a wall and resolve as before, so position to dodge both the seeds as well as the in or out. Immediately after will be another Lashing Lariat, and the remaining 4 players are targeted with seeds, which we once again drop at our color waymarks. These seeds will resolve with the next Brutish Swing, so once again dodge in or out while dodging the stars. Slaminator will place another shared tower, which the tank handles with invulnerability. There will be another Stoneringer and Smash Hero their Tank Buster, an 8-hit Brutal Impact Raidwide, and finally a long cast of Special Bombarian Special, wiping the raid if Brute Abombinator is not defeated. Thank you for checking out my guide. I hope that you found something useful within, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.